Hey everyone, Richard Metalfan here, and today we talk Injustice for All. But before we go into this album, let's go back into 1986. Metallica were in Europe touring in support of their album Master of Puppets, and after a show in Sweden, Metallica were on their tour bus heading into Copenhagen, and then tragedy struck on September 27th, 1986. There was a friendly dispute between Kirk and Cliff over seating, like bed arrangements, and then Cliff chose like an ace of spades and is like, I want your bunk. And then Kirk's like, fine, I'll just sleep up front. And then we're still driving, and then the bus hit like a patch of ice, and the bus spun out of control, and Cliff Burton was like tossed out the window, and the bus fell and boom, landed on him, killing him instantly. And he was 24, sad, and it was really sad to see him go at such a young age. And it was like the darkest point in Metallica's career. They were like just grieving really just terrible. They took it worse really hard, and just the way that they did it was kind of unhealthy, and they just drank and got fucked up on beer and shit. And then, like I mentioned in my Master of Puppets review, they actually got the name Alcoholica from their beer drinking extravaganza. And it was like not even after a month or so later that Metallica and I think management tried to persuade them, like, Cliff wouldn't want them sitting around just feeling sorry for themselves or just be bummed out. They would want them to continue. And so I do give props for Metallica for continuing on after Cliff's death. I mean, they wouldn't be where they're at right now, and we wouldn't be talking about Injustice for All. But yeah, then it was around that time, I was like, all right, let's just find some new bassists. So they tried out like a bunch of different bass players, and then until they settled on former Flotsam and Jetsam bassist Jason Newsted. Now, a lot of people would think like, oh, he's in the band. Welcome to the fold. But no, they just hazed the shit out of him. And I heard they like tricked him into eating like wasabi and shit. I mean, I do give props for Jason for putting up with their shit throughout his time in Metallica, but I don't give props to Metallica for being like asshats to him. But yeah, and before this album was even recorded, they actually released like an EP before that full of cover songs, and around that, and even the album credited that's Jason Newsted was listed as Jason New Kid, since around that time, like I said, he was the newest member. And then they were still touring, and then they were started writing material for what would become Injustice for All. And all right, let's just address the elephant in the room, which is the production of this album. While the songs itself are pretty good, the production is just like the bass playing. You can't even hear the bass at all. I mean, all the drums are too loud. The guitars kind of sound a little bit thin. A little bit. That's just my gripe about it. That I just wish the production could have been better. But I know if you go on YouTube, you can actually look up like a version of this album called Injustice for Jason with the bass actually turned up in the mix so you can actually hear it. But that doesn't detract from the actual song structures. Like the songwriting on this album is in particular, and just really great, some really memorable songs. And honestly, I consider this probably my second favorite Metallica album behind Master of Puppets. It's up there, and it's obviously one of Metallica's best albums. I'm gonna have to agree. It's, like I said, it's my second favorite Metallica album. But yeah, without further ado, let's just dive into this album track by track. Now, the album opens up with Blackened, which kind of starts off a little bit weird. It starts off with some guitars playing backwards, and then it goes into like a riff, and it just goes all out, just punches you in the face, and just some really great riffs from James and Kirk, and just showcases like the band are back after losing a member. They just decide, you know what, we're not done yet, we're going to continue on. And that's a pretty strong way to open up this album and start it off. Then we go into the title track, Injustice for All, which is like the longest song on this album. It's nearly 10 minutes long. Kind of starts off a little bit gentle, then it goes just da 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 da. Then it goes gentle, and then it goes da 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 da. Then it just goes all over the place, like different time changes and stuff. Like I really like it's a pretty interesting song, and lyrically I feel like the song talks about like government, hypocrisy, greed, like something that's like sort of like some of the lyrical content on this song talks about that in general on most of the tracks. And I think I really wish this song would played live a lot more. I mean they play it live. Like, I mean, nowadays I wish they would play it live. I mean, they play it live during the Justice cycle, well, along with a few other tracks. In fact, hardly any of these songs are played live aside from like maybe one or two, but yeah. Then we go into Eye of the Beholder, which is the same. And it has like some good songwriting in there. It kind of starts off with with a fade in, and then it goes just a very mid-paced tempo. And then we go into One, which is one of Metallica's best-known song. It's basically a ballad, and it actually is the first song that Metallica actually has a video for it. And they used footage of the band playing with footage from the movie called Johnny Got His Gun. And lyrically, the song is about a person who is blind and cannot see, hear, or speak, almost kind of after a war and stuff. And I just think it's a really amazing, beautiful song. One of Metallica's best known songs. They played it live basically at every show since 1988. So it's been 28 years since they played this song, and I love this song a lot. It's a very great song. One of the best ballads that Metallica has written, but probably behind, I think it's better than Fade to Black in my opinion. Then we go into The Shortest Straw, which is a very heavy song, and the riffs are good. But in the midsection again is just really interesting. It gets your attention. But I feel like the ending is kind of a little bit meh, but I don't know why. It's just the ending is kind of like, I don't know. Now then we go into Harvester of Sorrow, which this is a good one. When it has some really good guitar riffs, and in there it's just, yeah, I think they also played, I really wish they would play this song a little bit live more. Same thing with the next song, The Frayed Ends of Sanity. I just think it's a really great song. It's one of the most requested songs that Metallica should play live, and I honestly think they only played the song like once or twice. They started playing it live, actually. They played live in its full in 2014, but they played like bits of it during the Injustice cycle. And then we go into To Live Is to Die, which is kind of like the last bit of Cliff Burton we actually see or actually hear from this album, and his last songwriting credits. He actually wrote a poem. It's an instrumental, but near the middle section, James actually spoke the poem. It's just like some really great song. I honestly think this is the most underrated song in this album. It's just, I don't even know. I'm just like, it's just an amazing song. Just even thinking about it even gives me goosebumps. It's just chock full of rips and everything. And then the album closes with Dyer's Eve, which is just a fast, frenetic way to end this album. End it on a high note. And I love this song a lot. Now, overall, And Justice for All by Metallica is a really good album. Just showcases that the band are still going strong, even after losing a band member. It shows like, hey, we're back, we're not giving up. So if I were to give this album a score, I'd probably give this probably a 9 out of 10. It's that good. So yeah, that's my review of Injustice for All, guys. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you all in the next review, and keep it metal.